Chapter 39. Neverending Mountain was enormous, so large that it made Fruitless Mountain seem like a loose pebble. Minley could not see the tip or the bottom of it, as it seemed to grow out of a gorge so deep that the base must have been at the foundation of the earth. Minley felt as if she were on the edge of the world as she stared across the great gulf separating them from the Neverending Mountain. It stood before them like a piece of raw green stone towering forever into the sky and disappearing into silver mist. "There it is," Dafu said, "Neverending Mountain." "I bet the old man of the moon does live up there," Afu said. "The top of this mountain must reach the moon." "How do we get up there?" Minley asked. She was starting to feel dizzy from staring upward so long. The dragon looked chagrined. "If I could fly," he said, "I'd be able to get us up there to see the old man of the moon." "If you could fly," Afu laughed, "you would not need to see him." "But," Minley said, "it looks like flying is the only way up to see the old man of the moon." "There's probably another way," Afu said. "Yes," Dafu said, "you probably just have to let the old man of the moon know you'd like to come up." "How do we do that?" Dragon asked. "Send a message?" Minley looked up at the sky as Dragon and Dafu continued to walk. "Send a message, send a message." Dragon's words echoed in Minley's ears, and she felt as if she were searching for a match to light a lantern. The wind gusted at her as if it were trying to tell her something. She watched Afu's braid fly in the air. As she pulled it down, the cut pieces of her sleeve flapped like the tail of a kite. "I know," Minley said excitedly. "We'll do it like your ancestors did." She quickly kneeled on the ground and reached in her travel bag for the 2 borrowed lines. Dragon and the children looked at her curiously as she waved the sheet of paper and string before them. "We can fly a kite up to the old man of the moon," Minley exclaimed. "I'll make a kite of the 2 borrowed lines. That's bound to get his attention." Daafu and the dragon grinned, and together they made the borrowed lines into a kite. They fastened the page from the Book of Good Fortune onto Minley's chopsticks and attached an end of the red cord to the kite. But as they tried to trim the thread, Afu thought it would look neater if the end didn't dangle. They discovered that the borrowed line could not be cut. "It is a string of destiny," Dragon said as he tried again without success to cut the thread with his claw. Each of them in succession had tried to break it. Dafu even tried to snap it with his teeth. "It is reasonable to think it is unbreakable." "Well, we don't need to trim the string to make the kite," Minley said, "but we can't cut the kite free to go to the moon." "Just fly it until the string runs out," Dafu said. "Then let go." Minley nodded. It made sense. As they gazed at the wound coil, she said, amused, "It won't take too long for the string to run out anyway. There's not a lot there." "I just hope there's enough for it to fly," Afu said. So with Dafu running, they began to fly the kite. As the kite rose higher and higher, Minley watched the coil of string in her hand. "Is the string running out yet?" each asked over and over again. But Minley shook her head every time. The thread seemed to endlessly unwind. Even as the kite climbed upward, becoming the size of a named chop mark, the string continued. Slowly it disappeared from view, with the thread scratching the darkening sky with a faint red line. "This is a magic string," Dafu said in an awed voice. "Of course," the dragon said suddenly. "It's a thread of destiny. If we are destined to see the old man of the moon, it will stretch to reach him." "You must be destined to meet him then," Afu said, impressed. However, as she looked at the sky turning to night, she frowned. "But we are not. Dafu, we should go back home. We've been gone too long. After the green tiger, we should try not to worry Ama and Agong so much." "Don't you have anything you want to ask the old man of the moon?" Minley asked. "You could change your fortune too." "No," Daafu said, laughing. "Why would we want to change our fortune?" The children ran down the mountain, their laughter melting into the air. Minley shook her head in confusion but waved goodbye. As Minley watched them turn into figures of shadows seeming to dance toward their home and village, she thought of her own Ma and Ba waiting for her in her home far away. As the sky deepened like brewing tea, Minley and the dragon looked in silence at the red line reaching to the heavens. But just as the moon rose in the darkness, Minley felt a sudden jerk on the string. It began to strain and bend. "Something's happening," she cried out. "Pull the kite in," Dragon said. "Bring it back." "Something has changed," Minley said as she strained and pulled. "It's heavy now." The dragon reached above Minley's head and grabbed the cord. Together they pulled and dragged. As they strained, Minley wondered if they were bringing down the moon itself. But there seemed to be no end to the string. As they wound up the thread, it seemed to get thicker and thicker, and when the string became the width of Minley's little finger, a strange clattering, like a wooden wind chime, filled the air. Something has happened to the string, the dragon gasped between heaves. And something strange had happened. The thread, which was really now more like a thick silk rope, seemed to have divided itself into a long, strange web, reinforced with bamboo stalks. As the endless U-shape came toward them, Minli gasped. "The string," Minli panted. It's a bridge."